Teaching 107. Love each other. 1. Keep my paternal word in your heart, so that it may be like a luminous beacon in the depths of your being. From there it will guide your thoughts, words, and deeds, and that light will live in your spirit even when your flesh dies. This is the time when humanity awakens to the beauties of the Spirit, when it is interested in the eternal, and she wonders, what will the life that awaits us after death be like? Who, no matter how incredulous, has not wondered if there will exist in him something that will survive the flesh? In truth, I tell you that there is no one who does not present that mystery or meditate for a moment on the unfathomable, on the mystery of spiritual life that seems to be far away, and which is actually in front of your eyes. Some ask, others are confused, and others deny. Some speak believing they know everything, and others are silent and wait. But how few are those who really know something of the beyond? 2. My divine Spirit, in the likeness of the child Jesus, who before the doctors of the law asked questions that could not be answered, invisibly appears at this time before the theologian, before the philosopher, before those who delve into the unknown, and to my questions about spiritual life. He who is not silent answers wrongly. Those who know something of what my arcanum holds are the humble, those who live with spirituality. However, my light, like a dew, falls incessantly on all understanding, like a message that reveals my truth. Yes, to those who claim to possess my law and my doctrine, I ask them, which of my prophecies have been fulfilled and which not? Nor would they respond satisfactorily. 3. This is the time when the incarnated spirit and the disembodied spirit seek each other and approach. The abyss that exists between one another begins to disappear. And when the spirits of all the worlds manage to narrow with true love, it will be the glorification of the Father in each being. Today the ignorance of humanity still causes me pain. If instead of mourning the departure of your loved ones, you would listen to their voices in the depth of your heart. Instead of mourning, which is darkness, there would be light. That is what I told you at that time. Let the dead bury their dead. I ask you, do you have dead? What dies does not exist. But if the spirits that you present exist, they are alive. How much you would like to have among you those who you see disappear, without wanting to understand that their desire is for you to be with them in the hereafter. What you call death apparently separates those who leave from those who remain, but an eternal bond unites them, that of the spiritual brotherhood. 4. In eternity, the spiritual family formed by the Father and his children will meet. Since on this earth the seed of Babel still bears its fruits of division among the children of God, in the hereafter I will reunite my family. None will be missing, and in many cases the greatest sinners will come first, because their repentance and regeneration will purify and bring you closer to me sooner. But it is necessary that you know that among you live many spirits in a state of confusion. Others are fulfilling painful trials. Among them are also those you call yours. How could you get them to see the light and break free from their chains? How could you help them in their elevation, praying for them, so that this prayer is the spiritual voice that awakens them, enlightens them, and leads them to the Father? Remember them with charity, and your prayers will be like a balm over their sorrows. Make them contemplate that you live within my law, so that your example and your influence help. But not only think of those from whom you received some benefit. Even think of those around you without having seen or met them on earth. Beautiful are the acts of gratitude, but it is more meritorious before me that you give without having received before. But if you manage to remember without resentment and come to forgive whoever has offended you, you will have succeeded in imitating your master, and your forgiveness, which is an expression of love, will truly save whoever grants it. 5. The Father penetrates the most intimate part of your heart and tells you and know yourself, and you will know your brothers. Judge yourselves before you judge your life. Take my examples and follow my trail. 6. You are always asking me for forgiveness for your faults, without you having forgiven those who have offended you. 7. Time has been looking for the light of truth in the roads and in books without finding the true food of the Spirit, just a break for the mind. Today you have my truth that tells you about true life. 8. You arrive before the humility of these enclosures and listening in them this simple word, because their terms are not flowery or scientific. You felt the emotion in your spirit, and it recognized that it was facing a divine revelation. I saw your longing for light, and I gave you to look at what you wanted so much. I let you walk all the roads so that at last you will find the truth in it. 9. Behind the simplicity and humility with which I speak to you, there is all knowledge. Go to the bottom of the word and you will find that its essence is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and end of everything created. 10. I will reserve many lessons for you when you are in my kingdom. You should not know them now, as you should not know the reward that you are carving for the eternal happiness of your spirit. There must be an absolute disinterest in you, so that your merits are true. The good works that you do should not be published, because you will take away the merit they might have. Only I know the great or small value of your works. I am the one who has to judge them. Why do you want men to praise you for them? Vanity loses men and stains the spirit. 11. When you come to me, I will give you a crown that will not be made of thorns, like the one you embedded in the temples of Jesus. Each one in the material universe has a place that the Father has prepared for him, which he has to care for and defend in order to take another step in the love of his Lord. 12. I have come to prepare you because the moment of my departure is approaching. But first I want to leave you my teaching as a treasure. Do not seek gold, nor desire royal mansions. There are those who are covered with leprosy or walking like the wretched on earth. They carry a treasure in the spirit. 13. Now I say to you, prepare yourselves, because this year the trees will multiply in the regions where my word is. 14. The incarnated spirits have not been able to unite on earth due to the difference of races. So I will raise many of them of the earth, and in the hereafter I will form a family with them. And if their wickedness was great, then their lucidity and clarity will be great in your regret. 15. Pray for the troubled spirits, for the materialized, for those that in the bowels of the earth still cannot get rid of their bodies, for those who suffer and cry for the ignorant mourning that they keep on earth, and also forgive and stop judging those who have sown evil in your heart. If your eyes could contemplate them from the spiritual valley imploring your forgiveness, you would not be so unfair to them. Help them to fly towards infinity. Elevate them with your charity. Understand that they no longer belong to this world. 16. Once again I say to you, whoever drinks the water of my word will never feel thirsty again. 17. Disciples, I want the virtues of your heart to be the garments that cover the nakedness of your spirit. Thus speaks the comforting Spirit, promised in the second era. 18. I knew of a pain and trials that had to overwhelm humanity, and the degree of wickedness that the men were to reach. The arrival of the Comforter means for you the opening of the sixth seal, or that is, the beginning of a new stage in the evolution of humanity. From that moment, a divine trial was opened for all men. Every life, every work, every step is strictly judged. It is the end of an era, not the end of life. 19. It is the end of the times of sin, and it is necessary that the entire content of this sixth seal of the Book of God be poured into the spirits, awakening them from their lethargy, so that man may rise up carrying the harmony of your spirit with all creation and prepare for when you are loosed by the Lamb the seventh seal, which will bring the last residues of the chalice of bitterness, but also the triumph of truth, love, and divine justice. 20. When the seventh seal is closed, along with the other 6. That book that has been the judgment of God on the works of men from the first to the last. Then I'll open a book in white to write on it the resurrection of the dead, the liberation of the oppressed, the regeneration of the sinners, and the triumph of good over evil. 21. If you study the revelation of the 7 seals given to John, you will find only sin, profanation, and adultery in the nations of the world. There is the history of your wars, of all the miseries and tribulations that men have suffered because of their infidelity and weakness, and the justice that has followed each of your works. 22. Christ was in the middle of the eras, and with his sacrifice, with his perfect example, rescued you from death. His blood was the judgment of love with which he saved all the lost, granting them his divine forgiveness, like a kiss of life. The cross was the key with which he opened the doors of eternity to the spirits after the great battle. 23. That is the Lamb that the prophet contemplated opening the book and untying the seals. The only one that in heaven and on earth he was worthy to open that book, because only his love could conquer your hatreds, his meekness destroy your wars, and its light dispel your darkness. Who can flee from this judgment? Who will get out of that book and cease to exist? No one will be able to hide from me. O people, look how in these times when this judgment is palpable even in the air you breathe, you do not lack divine comfort. The mantle of God's love is projected in your life, and his voice seeks to be heard by all your heart. 24. It is the Spirit of truth who descends to decipher mysteries and reveal to you the necessary knowledge to enjoy true life. It is the divine consolation that is poured out on your ailments, to give you witness that the divine judgment is not punishment or revenge, but a judgment of love to bring you to light, to peace, and to happiness. 25. I cannot find a single unoccupied heart in which to dwell. All are dedicated to the world, but how I find meritorious who, overcoming his pain, knows how to bless my will. 26. What would become of you if in the midst of your tribulations you did not have the consolation of your faith? Look how by that faith my presence makes you feel very close, and already next to me you are filled with strength and hope. Keep showing me that trust, so that I grant you all the consolation that I have in store for you. 27. How pleasant it is for me to feel believed and respected in my will. How it is satisfactory for my spirit when I see that you trust me, that you know how to wait, that you are incapable of denying me despite the fact that sometimes the intensity of the tests overwhelms you. Then I say to you, these have become worthy of my benefits because they have made merits in the vicissitudes. 28. Forge your spirit in the great battles of life, as that people of Israel was forged in the desert. Do you know how extensive is the desert, which seems to have no end, with an inclement sun and burning sands? Do you know what is loneliness and silence and having to stay awake, because the enemies lurk? I really tell you that there, in the desert, it was where those people knew how great it is to believe in God, and they learned to love him. What could be expected of that people in the desert? And yet he had it all. Bread, water, a home to rest, an oasis, and a sanctuary where to raise your grateful spirit toward your Lord. 29. When Israel entered the promised land, they were a strengthened, purifying, fervent people. How sweet was that land that opened his lap to receive the Son who with so much faith and perseverance had sought him and had finally found. 30. You too are a people, and the life you go through is an image of the desert. That is why I tell you that you imitate the faith of that people, so that you can see my wonders on your way. Those wonders will be in your journey, the water that flows from the rocks or the manna that the winds bring. 31. The tabernacle was for that people the luminous torch that illuminated their path. Do not forget that in your heart exists the sanctuary, where you can pray to clothe yourself with my strength and to hear the loving voice of your Father. I am your doctor. In any of the occasions of your life, seek me and you will listen to my voice and you will see my presence, my love and my consolation manifest. 32. Comfort yourselves, thinking that in each of your life pains, my charity will compensate you when you reach the bosom of spiritual life, that new earth that I have promised to your spirit. Can you imagine what the joys will be, its fruits, its wonders and perfections? 33. If it was a dream for Israel to have reached their homeland after having wandered in the desert, how sweet it will be for your spirit to penetrate the kingdom of light after your long pilgrimage. Therefore, know that until your sorrows are like a thistle or a pebble of the desert that you cross, so that you have patience in the tests and the understanding of your destiny. 34. You have all found crossroads in life, which has made you ask, where am I going? Sometimes you have found the crossroads when receiving a disappointment. Others have been by achieving something that you eagerly pursued and that, after you get it, you understood that this could not be the reason for your life, that something greater, nobler and more beautiful must be what constitutes the goal of the spirit. 35. Hard is that instance, bitter the hour and terrible the battle that is waged within you. But I say to you, bless those who, upon entering that test, hold onto their faith, because they will come out of it saying, I have seen the light, I know the way, the voice of the Lord calls me. 36. Truly I tell you, you are like the streams that sometimes divert their course, but that in the end they are going to flow into the sea, which is their goal. 37. Analyze my word, disciples, and you will understand that it clarifies the mysteries that you could not understand. I am giving the interpretation of them, so that you do not fall into errors or confusion. At that time, I promise to send you the Spirit of truth to clarify everything that for you was a mystery. For that Spirit is me. Who else but me can the truth spring from? The time of light has arrived. You begin to know everything, and as your communication with my Spirit it is perfected, the greater the knowledge that you acquire, and the greater the light that you receive. 38. Your spirit lived imprisoned by the flesh, but the time has come for its liberation, and as its flight reaches greater heights, greater wonders you will discover. Your heart was a slave of the world, but when it had triumphed at crossroad, he knew what he had to love, and also knew from which passions he should turn away. 39. You enjoy thinking about the step you have taken, but you hide that joy in your heart, for fear that the world will take away with her criticisms and judgments. You are still fearful, but I tell you that the time will come when nothing and nobody will make you tremble, that you feel an intimate satisfaction in calling yourselves disciples of the Holy Spirit, instead of being ashamed as has happened, as if you had been discovered or caught in sin. 40. You are brothers of those Christians who hid in the catacombs of Rome. But do not forget that, when those multitudes came out of the darkness, it was to bring light to the incredulous world, surprising men with their faith. They were the irrigation on the divine seed that the Master had sown. Later the Gentile and sinful peoples, convinced before those testimonies they would have to embrace the cross of my love, like castaways in search of the saving lighthouse. 41. When will you come out of your retreat and your darkness, multitudes that have listened to me? Are you deliberately delaying your preparation, for fear of fighting? Truly I tell you, only he who has not prepared, because he who knows my word and loves his Lord and his like has nothing to fear, and instead of fleeing from humanity, goes to meet him to make him a participant in what he has received. Is the disciple who, after studying and analyze my lessons, put them into practice. 42. People of Israel, you find yourself dwelling in this valley in a time of restitution. I point out the narrow path that marks my law, so that in it you may be clean and become part of the doctrine people. 43. I have given you my word at this time, so that you may know my mandates and have one more manifestation of the love of your Father. Do not doubt or fear me. I do not come to dominate you by force. If you want to follow me, you will have to know the essence of my doctrine, which is the same that I brought you in the second era. And then you will know everything this call that I make to you means for your spirit. If you do not accept, other spirits will come eager to receive me, and they will deposit the grace that you reject. 44. I have always told you, many are called and few are chosen, and I am not the one who distinguishes or grants privileges. It is you who deserve to receive this name. 45. Those who follow me are called to be those who propagate my teaching, which will bring comfort and salvation to humanity. Blessed are those who, upon hearing this voice for the first time, have felt that which fills the emptiness of your heart and have lifted your weak body that fainted, is that they have received the strength and encouragement that I have come to give you. I invite you to take up your cross, and I repeat to you those words that in Jesus I told you, I am the way, the truth, and life. 46. How much you have walked on earth, and how much you have also cried, without reaching your end. I have let you walk and taste different fruits, so that you finally recognize me. I have been close to you in all your steps. That voice that you have heard inviting you to pray is my voice. That charity that has guided your steps is mine. I want more that you meditate and think about your destiny, that you follow in the footsteps of my passage through earth. 47. You whom I have gathered in humble houses of prayer. I have not spoken to you as a judge, although in truth I say, I have come to judge you. But I love you, and I want you to always seek me as Father, so that when there is no more my manifestation in this way, remember that my word never hurt your heart, and that I only moved you touching your sensitivity, polishing with the finest chisel, which is my word, your heart. My teaching set you apart of your sad and routine existence, because you found the true way of salvation. 48. Practice my teaching, and you will not stumble. Pain will come to you, but it will not make you despair. You will have strength in days of trial. You will reach serenity even when you go through a painful trial. And in the end, your submissive rapping, and as it comes down to earth, your spirit will rise and find me. But you will not come before a terrible judge, but before a comprehensive and loving Father who will extol your good works and point out to you what is not worthy of reaching me, so you still have to purify yourself. 49. You cannot say that you have not complied with the law because you lack the light, because I have poured it out on all spirit. I am not asking you to match my works of the second era, but to imitate them. Generations to come will go forward in its fulfillment, and thus, from generation to generation, humanity will advance on its path of improvement. You are laying the foundation for perfect communication with my spirit, and your children will continue your works. 50. If because of my doctrine you were judged, do not be intimidated by that judgment. Do not be ashamed to be my disciples. Remember those who followed me in the second era and strengthen yourselves with their example. 51. My work will sustain you in trials. Forgive all insults, and when you have been judged and covered with shame, I will give proof of your innocence and righteousness. Take these tests as the opportunity that I give you to make you recognized as my disciples before humanity. 52. Seek eternal life, and in it you will find peace. Let your brothers judge you unjustly. The times of persecution that I have announced to you will come, and by that time you must be strong and trust me. And when the bread is scarce and you are denied work, you will not starve. Pray and work for the salvation of your brothers. So you will see that the spiritual ideal feeds you, and you will understand those words in which I said to you, and does not live on bread alone, but of every word that comes from God. My peace be with you.